Hello and welcome everybody to episode number 24. Is it me or are they actually that tired? Okay, honest question. Have you ever walked out of class thinking, is it me or are they actually this tired? Because right now it's mid-semester, everyone's dragging, and even your best CI lessons are landing with the energy of a deflated balloon. Today's episode is It Me or Are They Actually That Tired? And I'm joined by Pamela Parks to talk about student burnout, teacher burnout, and how to keep CI alive when everyone, including you, is running on fumes. If your class 5 lately is meh, but still comprehending, this episode is for you. We'll be right back after these short messages. Ever feel like you're clinging to the edge of your teacher planner, just hoping today's lesson magically appears? Enter the CI Survival Kit, a monthly membership made for teachers who love comprehensible input, but also love not reinventing the wheel every Sunday night. Each month, you get fresh, ready-to-use lessons, time-saving tools, and just enough structure to keep your teaching life together. No stress, no guilt, just monthly help from someone who gets it. Sign up at imm.us/survival and let the survival kit do the heavy lifting for once.
Welcome to Comprehend This, real talk for real language teachers. No drills, no dry theory, just honest stories, practical ideas, and a reminder you're not alone in the CI trenches. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome everybody. Welcome back, Pamela. So glad to have you back from the wetlands of Washington.
Thank you so much for having me again. This is a blast.
Yes, I enjoy having you here. We've got always good conversations.
I got a kitty in my lap, so if anybody wonders what I'm doing with my hands, it's if Chris can bring his boa constrictor on, I can bring my cat on.
I know I've got my dogs are sleeping right now. I got two dogs, and then right off you can't see off the side is my sleeping lizard. He's about 4.5 feet long.
What kind? Is it like iguana?
It's not an iguana. It's an Argentine tegu.
Oh, wow. Those are so cool.
So I bring it to class once a semester because I told you I teach on the semester basis. Bring it once when it's warm enough. And I can bring it in because it is Spanish related. They're from Argentina. So, so we talk about it in Spanish and it walks around. And the kids all want to, because he likes to climb on the head and he's really big. So they put their hoods on and they put it on the head and they like to get a picture with the lizard on.
Oh, so, that's cute. Okay, I'm going to admit something really bad right now, okay? One year we were working on a story that was basically, you remember, so we were working on a story about irritating people being on a plane, all right? And all the students were coming up with these characters that they wanted to be irritating on the plane. Snakes on a Plane had just come out, okay? And one of my students asks, can I bring my snake tomorrow? And I was like, I'm out in a portable. Now, you got to know I'm out in a portable, all right? My first 3 months at school, I was like, I'm out in a portable. Nobody remembers that I'm here. And then after 3 months, I was like, I'm out in a portable. Nobody remembers that I'm here. So I can do any kind of crazy stuff I want. So I'm like, just come around. Don't tell the office. Just come around.
Yeah.
So we had snakes. Somebody brought their dog too. And I was like, I didn't tell you could bring a dog, but fine. We got a dog on the plane now. It was the craziest menagerie ever. And the students will never forget those words for snake and dog and irritating and barking.
And for me, it was, I'm lucky where I'm at because I'm teaching at the CTE, which is Career Technical Education. And we have agriculture. It's on the campus. So we already have rabbits, goats, guinea pigs, chickens, and ducks. So, I mean, this is a funny story. When I first started teaching this school 2 years ago, I'm hearing quacking. And I'm looking around trying to find out which kid is moving their lips. I am looking, and I am intensely looking. What? Who did it? I'm thinking, and I'm looking, and I finally realized, damn it, there are ducks outside my room. I forgot there are ducks outside my room. So that's how I legally can bring my lizard in because it's agriculture and stuff. Because and you can't be allergic to a lizard. They don't have any
True.
dandruff or oils or stuff. You can't be
True.
allergic to a desert. So I don't have to worry about like bringing a dog or other animal. But we can bring dogs into this campus because the kids already know that there are animals there and they have to just deal with their allergies. So, but yeah, we bring the
Wow.
lizard in. The rule is we can't talk to the lizard or talk about the lizard until the last 15 minutes of class. So the lizard just walks around, during the time. And then some girls will put their legs up. And then some of the boys put their legs up. I'm like, oh my gosh. The girls are better than the boys are. But yeah, we
Well,
have
because the
fun with it.
weather's so crazy, we've got like a bunch of like beetles coming into the classroom, the stink bugs, and they fly around. And my football players will scream, and I'm like, they don't bite. Don't squash it, and it won't stink.
Yeah.
It's our class. Es una mascota.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, you just reminded me of a story when I first started teaching. So it's my third year. I had the captain of the football team in my class. And all of a sudden, he starts screaming at the top of the lungs and he jumps on top of his desk. And I am like,
Oh yeah.
what are you doing? And he's like, spider, spider on my backpack, spider, spider. And I'm like, okay, you've got arms like this and you're 6'2". And the spider, how big could it possibly be? You're like a million times bigger than it. So I walk over to his backpack to look. It's not a spider. It's a ladybug.
Was it a scorpion? Oh, it's a ladybug?
It was a ladybug. That turned into a story.
That turned into a story. Because that's what we do. We roll with the punches. There's something flying around in the room. And the kids are screaming at it. By golly, you've got their attention. That's going to become part of the story.
Exactly. Yeah. And another one, then we got to move on to our topic because we're not really talking about it, but that's okay. It's still fun to get everybody
warm. The students are checked out and a bug flies in the room. Yeah. Suddenly, that's your hook to get them to wake up. Yeah. There, back to the topic.
Exactly. When I first taught in Nevada, I don't know what the fauna and flora are and what is poisonous and what is dangerous or not when I moved to the desert. And there was this giant spider that I saw. The kids hadn't seen it. It was on the cabinet behind two girls. And it had to be like this big. So it was a big one. And I don't know if it's, poisonous or not. Or no, I'm sorry. Poisonous is when you eat it. It's venomous.
Venomous, right.
Yeah, venomous. So I didn't know. And I know if I say spider, everybody's going to have a panic. So I casually came over with a plastic cup and a piece of paper. Yeah. And I casually just kind of walked over to check on what they were doing, make sure they were on task. And I put the cup over the spider and slid the paper underneath and then went outside and got rid of it. But they had no idea because otherwise it would have been panic in my classroom, especially how big it was. And when they come down out of the ceiling, I see them coming down. I don't say a word because they come down. Or we had a black widow had babies in my room recently.
Oh my God.
And so all little spiderlings are all crawling around. I'm like, not saying a word, not saying a word.
Those are venomous.
Yeah, those are venomous. But black widows don't bite unless you squeeze them.
Right.
So, if you don't squeeze them, and I don't let kids kill them in there, you don't know if it's got a family, leave it alone. We'll take it outside. Okay, so I don't know about you, but we just finished our midterms on Friday. So we are literally, for us, because we teach in the semester, and we are really half mid-semester. But even if not, we've got spring fever coming in. So no matter who it is, how you teach or how, when you start, when you finish, whether you teach year long or, on the year basis or the semester basis, it is spring fever time and our kids are feeling it. I know, especially for us, we had spring break coming, so they were getting antsy right before. And then we've got 9 full weeks with only 1 day off when we come back, which is Memorial Day, which is right before we end. So the kids are going to be loopier than loopy at the time. So how do you deal with that kind of stuff? What kind of things do you do or think of or plan for?
Well, it happened earlier to my classes this year than it has ever happened. I sense a shift in society. I know a lot of people want to blame the pandemic for the student engagement, but I think this is larger than the pandemic. I don't think it's that pandemic bubble anymore. Um, the students, it's harder for me this year than ever to get their buy-in. Now, one thing I do, because I run a game-based classroom, and so everything really feels fun. So sometimes the students just don't take it seriously, and maybe that's my fault because I didn't say, "Hey, your grade depends on this." I said, "We're going to play a game today," you know. So one thing I do is every single Monday I have what I call Metacognition Monday, and I do this part in English because I want them to understand how their brain works. And all the stuff that I think all my colleagues keep secret about, oh, when I was learning to be a teacher and I learned this technique, why not explain that to your students? Hey guys, this is what teaching proficiency through reading and storytelling is, and this is why it works. Hey guys, this is how the brain remembers stuff. Now you've got your short-term memory. I don't want things in your short-term memory. You've got working memory. We're going to shuffle it into working memory, and then we're going to try and shuffle it into long-term memory. And this is how we're going to do that. And this is Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve. And this is why you need to study a little bit each day. And this is why you can't stay up all night and cram and wake up fluent in French the next day. The brain just doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
So I need their buy-in. So I do spend a lot of time explaining that to them. And maybe I'm explaining it more this year than I ever have. But that's my first thing. Sometimes it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I've got to put some teeth in it. So I'll warn them, all right, when we're done with this story, there is going to be some kind of assessment. All right. Now, my assessments are always games. Don't tell the students, oh my gosh, they might be watching because they know I've been doing this podcast. But my assessments are always games. So sometimes I just take the TPRS story, the whatever story we created, and I take out keywords. And my colleague bought one of those like crossword puzzle makers. And so I just give them a crossword puzzle with the sentences because the whole point is for them to reread the story 100 million times, right?
Yeah.
So I give them the sentences with a word taken out, and they have to remember what word got it. So it's a cloze activity with a crossword puzzle, okay? And they love that, but that takes a little bit of prep work. So sometimes I'm like, all right, go grab a piece of scratch paper. All right, information dump. Write down everything you remember from the story. And this is really good for your long-term memory. If you can write down everything, like immediately after you learn something, you write down everything you can. So I have them write down everything they remember. And I'm like, if you remember sentences, great, write down sentences. If you remember just words, write down words. Okay, now this is a Harvard Project Zero routine called +1. So it's a thinking routine. After they've done that for like 2 minutes, I say, all right, pass your paper one person to the right. Okay, now look at their list. What did they leave off? Add one thing. Okay, pass it one to the right. Look at their list. Which word do you want to draw a doodle of? Draw a doodle right next to that word. Okay, pass it one person to the right. Take any two words and put them into a sentence. And then so you can do that until you run out of things to do. You can have them keep adding words, whatever it is you want to do, just something. And then it gets back to the original person. And I'm like, okay, now that you've seen 7 other people's papers, what do you want to add so that you get 100%? And so they're furiously writing again. Okay. And I'm like, turn it in. Honestly, I glance at it to make sure they did it, but everybody's at a different place. So some students are writing full sentences. Some students are only writing words. As long as they did something.
That's a formative assessment right away, just by seeing that.
Exactly. Other things I do is, there's a great book called The Strategic Teacher by Silverstrong and Perini. And they have something in there that they call Do You Hear What I Hear? And that's, you have the students, I'm like, okay, guys, you're going to do You Hear What I Hear as soon as we're done with this. So take notes while we're doing the story because you're going to have to retell it in a moment. Okay. So they take whatever notes they need to take. And, I teach the students a lot of different note-taking techniques. I teach them sketch noting, smash doodle, all those typical things you do in college to take notes because each brain type is different,
Yep.
And I want them to find something that they like. Okay. So they've taken their notes and then I say, all right. And then I randomly partner them up. I use like a popsicle stick approach to partner them up. And I say, all right, one of you is the teller. You put your notes away for a second. The other one is the coach. if you get stuck, they've got their notes in front of them. They're going to remind you what happened. Okay. They're not going to spoon feed you, but they're going to give you hints. All right. So I give them like 2 minutes to retell. And then I say, okay, switch roles. And so that's really good because that gets them practicing pronouncing stuff in a kind of a low stakes way. Because even though I'm walking around eavesdropping, it's not like the whole class is listening. It's just one person is listening to them. So that's good. Other things I do, because sometimes you just need that accountability piece, I guess. Let me look at my notes. Oh, grafted writing is great. Like you say, all right, hey, finish the story. Get out a piece of paper, finish the story for me. Or what would happen if we changed one thing? What would you guys like to change? Write it. Tell me what you'd change. Or one of the characters, you said that you wanted Rihanna in the story. Rihanna's not in the story. It is I don't know, some Michael Jordan instead. How would the story change? So then they can at least bullet point how the story would change or whatever. But yeah, sometimes it's just enough to tell them that there's going to be some accountability piece at the end. Then they'll perk up and they'll be a little more involved. I hope. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses and say, this story's not working. I love this story. I worked really hard on this story. I'll save it for next year because tomorrow they're going to come in and it's going to be a completely different story and they will never notice because they weren't engaged with the story anyway.
Yeah.
That took me 100 million years to get to that point where I would give up on a story. I don't know what it is with me. I just like it was a hard lesson for me to learn. It was like passing a kidney stone, but sometimes you just got to say it's not working. Time for something else.
I mean, yeah, because we always want to push through, and sometimes it's just easier to switch gears than to keep fighting upstream all the time.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because I'm like, well, we've invested so much and they know these words. And no, sometimes just cut your losses. And
I know, and you talked about gamifying your classroom, and I actually did that on a much more extensive way than I currently do. We made we made this little mini PLC with like 4 or 5 teachers from different departments, and we decided we were reading a book about how to gamify your classroom, and we gamified everything. Turning in papers on time gave you so many points. Turning them in early gave you more points. Well, I know it was. We had a spreadsheet that we were working on, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I do stuff between, and I'm going to forget his name. Fred somebody or other. He's a classroom manager. Fred Jones. I mix Fred Jones and brain something teaching something. Has nothing to do with languages, either one. But I mix both of these.
Right.
Whole brain teaching. That's what I'm trying to think. I'm horrible at names of things.
Yes.
So I have 3 things that I've done in my classroom. Now, one of them I've always done from almost day one, which were student points. So students get points for doing a variety of things in class. Use a target language, points. Answer a question, whether right or wrong, because they put themselves out there, they get a point. Let's see, helping another student gets a point. All the different kinds of things, they would get points. And I used to hand out little points every time, little pieces of paper. I started with flags, and then I thought, it'd be better I could teach something with it, so I did currency. So every few weeks, I would switch the currency, so my kids would learn the different currencies of different Spanish-speaking countries. And I never did peso because kids always knew what the peso was. So, we did euros, we did guaranis, we did, all the different ones. And then I'm like, I'm tired of cutting up these little pieces of paper.
Right, I was going to say,
time.
That's a really cool idea because I did the classroom economy for a couple years too. But that was so much work to constantly be cutting up that stuff.
Yeah. So I moved something else.
How are you? Yeah.
So now I use Class Dojo.
Okay. Yep. I use Class Dojo too.
Yeah, that works really, really well. Plus it puts my groups together too, because we always go, we're going to play a game. Let's go into teams, and I can do the different groups and get it up that way. So I use Class Dojo. The kids like to dress their little monsters, and they have a little fun with it. Even in high school, they have fun with it.
Even in high school.
I keep track of that. And then I have a reward system where kids can use their points to spend to buy rewards. And only one of the rewards costs me money. it's buy them a snack $3 or less. But it
Okay.
requires 150 points. And I set up Class Dojo where I use, maybe 5 points if they did a conversation, 1 point if they answered a question, 2 points if they ask a question, because I really want to encourage them to ask questions, so I give them more points for that.
Absolutely.
And they like hearing that someone got a point, and it pops up on the screen. They like to see all that and who got the points awarded. They hear it all the time. I've always got my phone out, and I'm always giving the points, so it works. I hand them out like candy, so that it really encourages. So that's my one part of my game. But then I also we work as a class, as a team points. And so that's where I mix what whole brain teaching and what Fred Jones says, where he had preferred activity time, PAT time. So what I do is I give points every time every activity. So we maybe do 5 or 6 activities in a class period. We're on a block, so an hour and a half. So they can earn maybe 5 or 6 points per class period, or lose 5 or 6 points per class period. Because
you take points away too?
Well, I do. It's like it's a competition between it's me versus them. So it's Profe on one side and Classe on the other. It's a scoreboard.
Okay.
And so like we do a song. If everybody's not standing and at least attempting to sing the song, I get the point for that activity, not them.
I love that.
So we have this competition, and so at the end of the day, then I add all their points to a running total. And then every Friday, I ask them if they want to save their points for a bigger prize or spend them for instant gratification. And they always want to save it because a class party is what they all want, and that's 100 points. So it takes, a couple of weeks to get there, but they deserved it once they did. And so that works. And I'll give bonus points. Like I go, this class is a really chatty class. I go, if I don't have to stop for you guys talking, I'll give you 3 extra bonus points today. Something like that. So it's always a competition back and forth. And then what I learned, because when I did whole brain teaching, I learned about it maybe a decade ago. And then there's a newer version now. And the newer version has what's called the improver board.
Okay.
So I modified my improver board. That's a whole nother competition. And for me, it's a pizza party. So if you get to the top, it's a pizza party.
Ooh.
And there's different levels. I did it with social media. So I have like the commenter, the content creator, different levels based off social media, because that's what my kids are into. The scroller. Yeah, the scroller, all the different kinds of things. So there's different things. And it starts off with like you earn 5 points, you move up a level, then it starts to go 10 points, etc., until you get all the way to the top. But what I do is I have different things that I notice in my class that this class needs to improve upon. And so in order to get a point for that day, you actually have to improve on what you did yesterday in that activity. So you can't just do the same. So like right now, at the beginning of the year, I want my kids to answer yes every time I say clase, so I know they're paying attention. So I go clase, and they go sí. And if they don't do it fast enough, they don't get their point.
Okay.
But I want them to do it. And then I saw that they were doing it about, maybe 5 to 10 seconds after I said it. So the next day they have to do it less than 5 seconds to get the point for it to, they're constantly improving.
I like this.
Silent reading. Everybody's got to be reading for you to get the point. So I'll say, I'll start in the beginning and go, at least half of you have to be reading. Right. When I come around, the book can't be upside down. You can't have an English book hidden in there. You've got to all be consciously reading, and you'll get a point. Then I'll go, okay, now it's got to be 60%, then 70% until we get 100%. Then we've improved that skill. I'll look at another one. Oh, we've got all these side conversations. So I put that one up as a goal. So the goal's up on the board. They can see what the goal is for the day or the week or however long we need to do to improve it. So I pick skills for each class that we need to work on.
That's much better than a learning target.
Yeah.
To have this improve. Oh, I like that idea.
So
let me write that down. Improvement target.
Yeah, the improvement board. So there's three ways I gamify my classroom doing that. So I can motivate them. Like if we're doing a story and it's a lull, no one's asking questions, no one's really putting much effort into it. I'll like, okay, let's see. I'm putting on the improved word today. Right now, I need engagement. I need excitement. Fake it till you make it. Just keep going, and the more I see, the more points you'll get. So
Uh-huh.
I have them fake it until it goes on. Now you said something about games too, because you gave me so many ideas. So I was talking about what I do. Um, One of the fun games I like to play, you said to get them to read more, is a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
So what I do is I take the story sentence by sentence and I cut it up into strips. And I
Uh-huh.
hate strips normally. I hate them because it's a mess. I got to keep track of them. But I only have to make
Yep.
one copy and cut it once because then I
Right.
hide the strips in the classroom and right around my
Uh-huh.
classroom outside.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they're all up there. And then what they have to do is go and find these strips. They can't tell anybody where they are. They're supposed to be secretive about it because they're
Right.
competing
Mm-hmm.
against each other. And I say you can use your phones here because it might be underneath. Like we have benches outside our classroom, and it might be underneath the bench, so you can't. They can
Oh,
take
okay.
the picture
Okay. Mm-hmm.
of it, so they have it. Then they're
Uh-huh.
gonna come back to the classroom, and now
Uh-huh.
everybody's got a different one in their team, different. I'll tell them like there's 10 strips. You need to find 10 strips.
Uh-huh.
So then they've got them all, but now they have to put them in order that it
Right.
happened in the story.
So it's like
So
running dictation, but a little more interesting. Yeah.
yeah, because they're not
Mhm.
copying all this stuff down. That's another one I play too, but this is just a fun way
Yeah.
to just to get them to
Uh-huh.
reread and reread and reread.
'Cause that's the
And
key. You need to get them to reread. Yeah.
exactly. And so they have fun with that one because even my lackluster readers love to go. I get to use my phone and run outside in the classroom too. So they have a lot of fun doing that. And I put them in the strangest places, that you don't even think of. And the rule is if you see it during the day, don't tell anybody and don't tear it down. You can't tear it
Oh,
down.
yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
Um, and then the last thing I'll talk about that on this little part of our topic here is I talked about this before, but I learned from my sister as an elementary school teacher about ebb and flow. So
Right.
in mid semester, I have two things that happen. My kids are not always asleep. Sometimes they have too much pent up energy, like right before spring break, because they haven't had a break. It's been a month since they had a day off. They are, pent up. They've got all this energy, and it's energy not being used towards productive tasks. So it's the ebb and flow. She says, because, you know, sometimes they're in class. Sometimes they go to the art room, or this day they go to PE, or they go to music this time. And so when they come back from these different classes or these different activities, they have different energy levels. So after PE, they're all hyped up. So she works on a quiet activity that comes afterwards. Or they just came back from the library where they were picking out books and had some reading time where they were looking for books. So she needs to do some energizing activity, something more active. And when she put the words to it, I was like, oh, I do that naturally. I didn't think about that. I do that naturally because I've never had a sleepy first period ever because I'm loud and I'm obnoxious because I'm like, Buenos días, clase, ¿cómo están
Yeah.
ustedes? I'm all going. They're like, what the hell
You
is
are
this doing?
performers.
Yeah. I tell my kids, I go, the first thing you learn in teacher school, leave your dignity at the door. So I have no dignity in the classroom whatsoever. I do all kinds of crazy stuff. So that
Well,
ebb and flow really does, it makes a difference. So if your kids are sleepy, find something active to do, a brain break, a game, anything. Trashketball. My kids will do anything for a game of trashketball, and you need no prep
no
whatsoever
prep.
for that.
Yep.
Just get the garbage can, get a ball, and go.
So, kind of along that line, now the thing that saves my sanity as a teacher of Spanish and French and Japanese, and now I've got the English class, the thing that saves my sanity is having a routine
Oh yeah,
because it is
absolutely.
so hard to prepare for it. But sometimes at this point of the year, especially if for me, it happened earlier in the year, students just kind of get used to the routine and they know when they can check out, okay?
Yeah.
Because they're gaming the system, if I can say that. They know, this is the transition to go grab the mini whiteboards. I'll just shuffle my feet and do it slowly.
Yeah.
This is the TPRS as long as I just kind of mindlessly parrot. I don't have to really think about it. And so for me, this also took me a long time to realize sometimes it's enough to wake the kids up just by changing the orders of stuff. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
logistically, it makes sense since we're going to do free voluntary reading. As you come in, I don't want a long line at the bookcase because I've got four bookcases full of books now. And it's like all the Spanish books are crammed over here, all the French books are crammed over here, all the Japanese books are crammed on the other side of the French one, so I have to physically turn the bookcase around when the Japanese students come in. So there'll be a long line to those bookcases, so it makes sense logistically to say, as you come in, while we're waiting for the bell to ring, your bell work is to go grab a book that you want to read for the next 10 minutes, okay? Sometimes it's enough for me to say, no, we're not starting with FVR today. And they're like, what? We're not? And even though it's going to eat up some time later in the class when they get in that long line and try and get a
Yeah.
book, it's like, oh, you were expecting that, and now you're off your balance now. So now I have your attention. We're going to start with this other thing. So
Yeah, that is a good.
That again took me a long time, and I think that kind of goes with your ebb and flow because you've got a certain rhythm to your class. And if you just shake up the rhythm, even though it's stuff that you were going to do anyway, you just do it in a different order. Sometimes that's enough to give a little novelty boost to the kids. Now, I don't know why, but it is.
But it is, I agree with you, just swapping something up. And sometimes I've done
Yeah.
the warm up in the middle of the class period. They're like, what?
Yeah.
This is kind of weird. It breaks that little trance that they're in right off the bat.
Yeah.
And another way to kind of similar to do that as well is to give kids choice. So I'll say,
Yes.
okay, we can start class with silent reading or the warm up. Which do you want first? Or we're going to play a game today. This is the game that I had thought about, but if you want to do one of our other games that we can do, let's go ahead and, vote. I'll have them vote for doing something like that. And you talked about before about using games as assessments. My kids, I don't know, this group of kids this year don't want to play Gimkit. Usually my kids like Gimkit, but this time they're all on Blookit.
I love Blookit. I adore Blookit.
They're basically the same thing. The games are just different. They're not much different.
Let me make a little, because I have used GameKit before. For me, some of the Blookit games, not all the Blookit games, for the Blookit games that I like, in 7 minutes, the students can get, the high flyers get 120 repetitions. Even the struggling students can answer 35 questions in 7 minutes for like Cafe or Gold Quest or Crypto Hack or some of those. For Gimkit, I found that there was more gameplay than there was questions. And the point of it is to get this is an easy way for me to do drill and kill because we kind of need it in a language classroom. We need to have that repetition so the kids get used to the terminology and stuff. In Gimkit, for a 7-minute game, they were only getting 10 questions answered. And so
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I've never noticed that. I have to look at it. I have to look at that. I never noticed that before. But what I like about it, because one of my observers was saying, he goes, you're playing a lot of these video games. He goes, and what are they getting out of this? And I'm like, it's an assessment. He's like, how is it an assessment? They're playing a game. I'm like, here, let me show you the data. He goes, oh, there's data behind it? I'm like, look, it tells me all the kids. It's not just a high score. It tells me how many questions they got, what they got right, what they got wrong. I can look for commonalities in the classroom so I know which vocabulary to work on.
90% of the students did not get this one question. I better think about reteaching this, Oh, this student is struggling. This student is, whatever. You can, yes, the data is beautiful. And actually, because our district is doing the hot thing lately in PD, which is common formative assessments.
Yeah.
As I watch all the other departments arguing about what is a common formative assessment, I said to my colleagues, I'm one of 4 Spanish teachers. Okay, I'm the only French teacher. I'm the only Japanese teacher. I get to do whatever the heck I want. For Spanish, we all kind of have to march lockstep. And when this edict came down, I said, hey guys, let's just use Blookit. I've got them all made. Do you agree that these are good Blookits? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, done. We're using Blookit for our common formative assessment. The data's right there. It's so easy. It's so beautiful. And so now I'm trying to convince all the other colleagues at school that stop arguing with each other. Just do Blookit. Call it good. You got your data.
Because the kids don't even realize it's an assessment. They have the low effective filter. The test anxiety is not there. So it's a great way to be able to get that formative assessment and see where the kids are at and which kids are struggling and which ones aren't. And I have kids that's one of the things also I do for my sub. You're talking about the sub plans because
Yeah.
sub plans are a nightmare.
I
I will
use Blue Kit for
assign
supplement.
a
Yeah.
booklet as well
Yeah.
for that. And it works really, really well. But I have kids go, can you assign us a booklet? Not just to
Yeah.
do it, you can grade it just because I want to practice it at home. And my kids, a
Yeah.
lot
So
of my kids have their own
mhm.
booklet accounts that they make their
Yeah.
own stuff with. And I will tell you,
So
there is a cheat sheet. You want to make booklets really, really easy. You upload the blank template that Blooket gives you, the blank spreadsheet template. You upload it to ChatGPT, and then you tell ChatGPT what you want, and it will fill that template. All you do is download it and upload it to Blooket, and your Blooket is done. So I used to have nightmares when I wanted to practice like a verb tense, and I had to type it all in like 100 terms or whatever. Oh, no, 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 no. I'll say, I need these 10 verbs. I want them all in all 5 forms in the past tense, and put the English translation as the question, and then the Spanish translation as the answer. And then within 30 seconds, I have a download. I download it and I upload to Blooket. Boom. You want to convert it? Say, I've got this Blooket. Can you please convert it to GimKit? And it does
yeah,
it.
that's true.
And
That's true. You can do that.
because you
Yeah.
have to pay for
So
those tools. Otherwise, it's a paid tool. But ChatGPT will do it all by itself. It's another great way to use ChatGPT.
So I like to put pictures in my Blue Kits so that I can keep the students thinking in the target language better.
Yep.
And the very first thing I do with Blue Kit is I have Blue Kits made. This is how you yell at your classmates in the target language. So I have one for French, one for Spanish, one for Japanese, because that's part of our playing Blue Kit is you are not allowed to speak English. You want to say, oh, you want to say, you're so mean to me, you stole my gold. You better say it in Spanish. You
Yeah.
want to say, oh, I'm not sorry I did that to you. You better say it in Japanese. So that was the first thing I did. And then we were talking about Class Dojo. So I've got table groups. I've got 39 students in one class and like 35, 36 in other classes. So I've got 6 table groups. And I used to put like tents on the table that named each table after a country, or in the case of French, I've got Quebec in there too. So the table groups are named after a country that speaks the language, or in Japanese, a prefecture in Japan, just so that they learn them. And I decided for Class Dojo, what I did was I just made 6 students in each class, and each student is named the table group name. So there's Argentina, Guatemala, España, Mexico, Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
They're Puerto Rico's not a country, I know. They're all named after it. And then as anybody at the table group says something impressive, asks a good question, wins a Blue Kit game, and I know that they're totally random, and that's okay, all right? Because that's fun, because then you get the kids really invested in the game. I make a big show of bringing up Class Dojo on the big screen, and I say, oh, Guatemala, felicitaciones. I put a point in for them, and they all applaud each other and everything. So that gets the engagement a little higher too.
My
Yeah.
kids just go crazy for a Blooket. They get so excited. We played for the first time. We played laser tag because I wasn't
Yeah.
paying for Blooket, and I go, I'm not going to pay for it if you guys aren't going to, really use the other games, right? So they
Uh-huh.
go, okay, go ahead and pay for it. Pay for it. We'll play. We want to play laser tag. So we play
Right.
laser tag. Oh my gosh, they
Yeah.
were yelling and screaming, and the campus monitor came in. She goes, "Is everything okay in here?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're just really excited. They're excited about
That's
class,
what
and
you
like
want.
they're
Uh-huh.
playing the game and they're engaged in the
Yeah.
game." Now, I love your idea. I didn't think about doing that, teaching them all the different things they can yell at each other in the target land. It's awesome. I'm going to
That's the
steal that.
point. I don't want them speaking English. We're trying. Oh my God, I will never get to 90%. Okay. I'm going to admit that right now. I will never get to 90% target language. It's just not going to happen in my classes. I don't know why. I don't know what it is with me. I don't know what it is with my students. It, it's too difficult, but any way I can cheat my way to there. oh, here's your chat mat of how to scream at each other. Here's the chat mat for this game we're playing. That you've got your cheat sheet right in front of you. Yes, you can look down at it. Just please use those words, because
Yeah.
eventually, after the 20th time, you'll at least remember the cadence of the language, right? So, for Blue Kit, like if I'm going to put it in as a grade, because sometimes I'm like, I'm putting this in as a grade because I don't want to do worksheets. I hate
Oh yeah.
worksheets,
Yep. Yep.
but I feel like with Blue Kit, I can pretend and I can say, all right, my other Spanish colleagues are giving a worksheet. This is our worksheet. Or my English class, the other English teachers are giving a worksheet. All right, it's going to be Blue Kit instead for me because I'm not going to give a worksheet. So for that, when in my Spanish, French, Japanese classes, I'm like, if I don't hear you speak English at all, I'm going to add a point to your Blue Kit score. Okay, so Blue Kit will give the percentage of how many they did right. And so I put the score in out of 10. So if they get 95%, then I put them in as 9.5. Then if they don't speak English, they are yelling at each other in the target language, I'm like, okay, fine, you get a 10.5. It's only 1
Yeah.
point. It's not going to make a difference, But I want to reward them. I want to encourage them to use the target language.
And
And so for me,
here's how you
yeah,
can tie that into that improver board. You can
that's
add
a
that in
beautiful
there.
idea.
So you
Exactly.
can put that in there.
Exactly.
They use more and more target language. So I have
Yep.
that one as well too, is my goal.
Hmm.
So that's another way
Yep.
to add that more and more target language they use. And so all these different things are such great ways to get them to be motivated and excited again when there's that lull. And it doesn't have to be mid-year or right before a break or even coming back from a break. It's hard to warm them back up to the language
Yeah.
in the class and get them all energized again. But all of these ideas are such great ideas throughout the whole year. What you can do when there's that low, when
There is a
either
law.
the energy is too high or the energy is
Uh-huh.
not high enough to get them really, really engaged. I think those are some really strong ideas. We've given our the audience a lot of ideas there. And I want to switch the gear just a little
Sure.
bit. What do you do when you're not feeling it? When you're in the low?
Fake it till you make it.
Yeah, that's
That's what
one of
you
them.
said.
Yep.
When, geez, I have a lot of energy, and I guess the other thing maybe you should know is that I have a broken leg that will not heal. It was 2 years ago. We were playing a game, and I've got packed classes in a tiny portable. One of the students pulled out her backpack, even though the backpacks are supposed to be against the wall. She pulled out her backpack. I turned around to go check on another group and didn't see the backpack in the middle of the walking path. My leg got caught in it, and those backpacks are friggin' heavy. And I went down, lying on the floor with the legs sideways. I'm like, guys, you know what to do. Get back to work. And they wouldn't get back to work. I'm like, you go get the nurse. My leg's broken.
Oh my
um,
gosh.
so there have been like it's better. It's a little better now, but I'm still walking like Frankenstein. There have been days where standing is so painful for me in the last 2 years. And we're a language teacher. We got to be on our feet because I came back to school. We were talking about making sub plans
Yeah.
before we started this podcast. Scott and I were talking about how friggin' difficult it is to make sub plans. Okay.
Mhm.
So I actually came back to school before the doctor would let me. I came back in a wheelchair because the students went Lord of the Flies without me. Like they went crazy. I had a substitute who, she was a native Spanish speaker. Just because you're a native Spanish speaker doesn't mean that you know how to teach. There is a
Mhm.
puzzle solving that goes with it. There is, breaking skills down into little pieces. And my students suddenly were sending me pictures. They shouldn't have had their cameras out because we have no cameras in school. But they were taking their cameras out and they were showing, somebody drew a phallic symbol on the
Oh.
desk. And I'm like, I got to come back to school. So I wheeled myself back to school and fake it till you make it. You put the smile on your face, okay? Because I believe a lot in modeling for the students. All right. I always tell the students, I'm never going to ask you to do something that I'm not willing to do myself. If it is free voluntary reading time, I have a book too.
Yeah.
And if it's Spanish class, my book's in Spanish. If it's French class, my book's in French. If it's Japanese class, my book's in Japanese. I'm sorry that this Japanese book is really good and I really want to get back to it. It's Spanish class. I'm going to be reading the Spanish book. Okay. In my English class, even I'm like, I assigned an essay for you. By golly, here I am at the front of the room. I am writing the essay on the board so you can help me pick it apart as I'm writing it. And I'm modeling the behavior for you. So, man, we are such actors, Scott. I mean, the dignity, you're right.
Yeah.
We have none because we have to demonstrate to the students what we want the students to do. Now, that being said, on the days when, like, oh my gosh, guys, I have to sit down. The foot is really hurting. I've been smiling the whole time, but I got to sit down. Okay, that's when I'm like, all right, we'll do an extra Blue-Kit today. We don't do Blue-Kit every day, but we'll do Blue-Kit today. We'll do 2 Blue-Kits today. We'll do Wayground. I also like Wayground. Roxem is good. Have you ever used Roxem? That's a music program.
No, I've not
And
used
so
that one.
it's activity for a song. And like if they have like Locura de Marzo, they do that. So it's a good way to get your students, like, because I do a lot of music in my class because music is repetitious. The song gets stuck in your head. So even if you forget everything else, you're going to remember this one line of the song.
Yeah.
So at least you remember me duele, me duele, me duele, me duele, because that's what Bombo Stereo sang.
Yeah.
You remember that. So there's if the energy is not there and like you don't have energy, there are things. Trash get ball, you could do trash get ball without much energy. I like sink or swim because sink or swim will eliminate the high flyers and leave the struggling students to practice. So sink or swim is kind of like trash get ball. You got two teams, all right, and I've got a bunch of quiz trade cards and I use them for everything. And so I'll just pull them out and I'll say, okay, name your teams, guys. All right. Do you want to start at the beginning of the class, the front of the class, or the back of the class? All right. You want to start at the back of the class. All right. Bob, in the back of the class. ¿Cuántos años tienes tú? All right. And then Bob has to answer. And if he can't answer, Bob, sit down. You're sunk. Okay. Go to the other side. Okay. Either choose a new question or whatever Bob couldn't answer. All right. So they get it right. I'm like, okay, you got it right. Sink somebody on that side. So they get to sink one of the opposing team people. They're going to, as soon as they figure out the strategy, they will sink the high flyers. Okay, so they're out of the game for the moment. Go to the next person. Fred, it's your turn. You ask them a question. Oh, Fred, you got it right. You have a choice. You can sink somebody on their side, or you can save Bob, who's sunk. What do you want to do? And maybe Fred will say, I want to save Bob. Okay. So the high flyers, it's really funny because it takes them a while to figure out the strategy. The high flyers will go up and down and up and down and up and down and never get a chance to answer because they always get sunk. And the students who really need the practice will get the practice. So that's a good one. I've got a lot of card games right now because I'm one of 4 Spanish teachers. Hey, it's the time of the year when we work on adjectives. I don't want to do a worksheet. I made my own apples to apples game because apples to apples is noun is adjective. Red card is green card. So as long as the students can put them together, they look at the red card, they can read what's on the red card, and they can say the word is, and they can say what's on the green card. And if they add the S's when they should add the S's or change the gender when they should change the gender, yay, you know it now. Okay. So that's easy for me to plop on the desks, sit in the middle of the room and just eavesdrop and say, oigo inglés, I hear English, I'm going to dock you a point,
Yep. And
so there are lots of games that you can just sit in the middle of the classroom like a spider in the web and just eavesdrop on everybody and just kind of just say, hey guys, remember, speak in English right now. Don't speak in English right now.
And you brought up a couple things. You took some notes because I didn't hear some of those games before, so I've got some of those things down too. But I'll tell you, it took me, I'm in my 24th or 25th year. It took me 22 years to figure this out, to give myself downtime. I used to be on for the entire period.
Oh
whether I
yeah.
was on a block or not. I was on from the moment the bell rang to the moment the bell stopped. It was, and you're on, and it was exhausting, not only physically,
Yep.
but mentally by the end of the day. So now I have scheduled downtime in. And that's what saved me because I'm in my mid 50s. And I've been doing this for so long. So sometimes things get boring for me as well. It's not boring for the kids, but I'm getting bored because I'm like, I have to teach this 3 times today. And it's getting on me. So I have scheduled downtime, and this is what I do. So they're still getting the input, and it's not a real worksheet. So I use formative.com for everything. I
I'm the
love
same.
formative.com. It is my go-to for everything. I can do warm-ups in there. I can like I've been making little slide decks about vocabulary and what fun ways to teach the vocabulary. I make a little slide deck and I'll just upload it for them to study if they want to. They don't have to. It's not an assignment. I can put it in there. My sub plans, because I was so frustrated because subs would not explain the plans well. I can make a
Yeah.
sub plan in there and explain this is what you need to do. These are your 5 activities. These are your links. Complete this, and you've done this. You've completed the stuff for today. What wonderful! My kids know sub. Go check formative. There'll be a sub plan there for them. So I love it for everything. So here's what I use for downtime. I will make stories. So I will have a reading story with 20 comprehension questions, or you can, because informative, you don't have to have, it's not just a question and answer. It could be a scramble where they have to put the story back
Right.
in order. They drag and drop. It could be a fill in the blank where you have to drag and drop keywords in there. I can make all kinds of activities in there, but I can make a reading, and then I can pre-record a story and they can listen to it and then do some activity with it. You can have them do formative is free for basic things. You can do, I think, multiple choice, maybe short answer on there. I don't know which question types are free because I pay. It's worth for me in gold $15 a month for me to pay for all the stuff I use it for. And I have it tangible. I have everything tangible, but kids can upload a picture. So they can take a picture on their phone of something they did so they can prove that they did it. They can answer video. They can answer with a audio. They can listen to an audio portion. Like I can ask questions. Like if I want to do a conversation, ¿Cuántos años tienes? How old? How old are you? Or ¿Cómo se llama el personaje? Whatever. I can ask those questions in Spanish. They hear them instead of read them and then have to answer them. So I can do that, and then that gives me 10, 15, 20 minutes of downtime where I
That's
can.
my next question was how long are they working on this? So
it
10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah,
and then how many comprehension questions do you have generally?
Usually it's on their own 20.
20, okay.
So I
and then the
usually do
reading
20.
the reading is about 10 sentences?
No, hell no. They're extended readings. They are 300 words.
Okay.
So between 300 and 500 words. My listenings are around 200 words.
Okay.
And then I'll just read them and record them. I use an app called Soundtrap. It is free. It will nag you to upgrade, but I've used it for at least 6-7 years without ever having to upgrade. Right. It saves them. It records. You can even edit your recordings, and then it saves them. I make folders for Spanish 1, Spanish 2, and I can find every recording I've ever made. So it saves them all, and then I can.
You have all the stuff that you probably need, right?
Yep. And I upload it to you. I can download the MP3s and then upload them to formative. So I save them in formative as well, and I save them by year in formative, so I can make subfolders within subfolders. So it'll be, so I go, oh, I made all these stories about these kids this year because they're the kids in my class, but I need some extra stories, and I'm sick and I can't do one. So I'll go back to last year's stories, and I can pull one. All I got to do is click assign it to the new kids. It's already saved in formative, and I got the Soundtrap, everything. So I love using those. That gives me self downtime. It took me, as I said, 22 years before that I figured out I could do that. I thought I had to be on all of the time. And so, and it also replaced, what was that one called? See, I'm horrible with names of things. It was a great app where kids could record their videos and then
Oh, Flipgrid is
Flipgrid.
gone.
Yeah, Flipgrid
It's
is gone.
gone.
But I can
Yeah.
use Formative now because Formative will allow them to do video recordings. So I can kind of do it with that way as well. So it's kind of fun that way. As I said, I have
I'm
them
not
do.
even sure why Flipgrid's gone. Like
They
it was
said they
doing well,
incorporated it into Teams, but
but they didn't. They
no,
didn't.
it's not.
They just took it
It
away.
was a great thing, and so I think it's a really
Yeah.
bad thing.
Yeah.
You talked about some games. I'll tell you two games I really like, and
Okay.
one like because you said also where the slower processors tend to win. Battle Royale is a game that I just made up recently, and we've been playing. The kids think it's a Fortnite game. I'm like, it's not Fortnite. I don't do Fortnite. I don't know anything about Fortnite. I just know they misspelled Fortnite. So, what happens is we start with a kid, and I have Class Dojo pick a random kid to start.
Okay.
And then pick another random kid to be the next person up. Then I ask them a question. It could be a question, it could be a vocab, it could be a verb conjugation, whatever I want to work on. And then the first one to say it keeps standing. The other one sits down, and another student comes back up. Right. And the goal is you want to be the one left standing up there. So if you lose, then you have to go sit down, and the one who won stands. And we just play that. And I'll just set a timer. I'll set a timer. And then I keep
around the world, huh?
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, okay. And so I set a timer, and then the last 3 people who are standing get points for being first, second, and third place. So I play that game, and it's just kind of fun. The kids like to battle each other, and it's really fun when kids of the same ability level get matched up, because it's all random how it comes up. Because I guess hit Class Dojo, and Class Dojo picks the next kid. I'm like, that's who you're going up against. So it's completely random. The only thing I wish Class Dojo would have is like, this kid already went, and don't call him again until everybody's gone.
Right.
But Formative has added that in there. Formative has added that. It does. So I got to find a way to work that in, but it works. Okay. The other game I play, and it comes under different names, and I don't remember what they used to call it. Pancho Camancho, I think, is what it was. But I call it Survivor after the game show, after the TV show. Because what it is you give like 10 kids are up on the up there, and they have a verb card. So it's got a picture, and it's got the verb on it. On the back, it's got the verb on it, so they can see it and what it means. So that's there. Because it's not a meaning based, it's a verb. Well, you can do it for anything, but I usually use it for verb conjugations. You can do any kind of grammar aspect you want. But there's 10 cards. The audience has to pay attention because they're listening for a mistake. Because if they hear a mistake, they can run up and steal that kid's card, and the kid's got to sit down, and they're now in the game. So they're listening for the mistake. Good. But here's what you do. So there is a timer going on. So it's like a hot potato type game. And you ask the questions. I'll go like, hablas, you speak. So the kid who's got the verb hablar has to go, yo no hablo. He's got to say it in the negative. Yo no hablo.
Good.
Tu cantas. And then the one who's got the cantas verb has to go, yo no canto, tu comes.
How do they choose the verb? Is it just random that they get to choose, or is it
they get to choose whoever they want to, the kid, it's got to be one of the verbs that are up there. And this is where
so they can see the cards, so they can, they
can see. So here's the thing. The kids target the smarter kids.
Right.
To try to get them out. Just like in the game of Survivor, they want to get the strong players out. So they do. And so who's left up there is generally the weaker kids. And they need the more practice anyway. Right. And then the audience is participating because I said they've got to listen. If they hear a kid go, yo come, someone's going to run up there and steal that card. And then the other kid's just out. And then I give, start with 10 kids. And I start giving points at the 5th place. 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place, and then whoever gets first place gets the most points. So they get 5 for first place, 4 for second place, 3 for third, 2 for, and then 1 for 5th place. But they have fun. We can play this game, and it's kind of a fun game that we can practice. And it doesn't have to be that. It could be adjectives and adjective agreement in there. You can make just a little phrase like, I'll go manzana, and then I'll pick an adjective like anaranjado, and they have to go like, yo tengo una manzana anaranjada, tú tienes una, and they have to just say something. You make up a little phrase or something that you can practice interchanging the grammar, where they're not really focused on the grammar, but it's kind of getting the repetition in a fun way.
It's a transformation drill, and we need it. I mean, I know the drill and kill gets a bad rap, but we need it in teaching languages.
And what I like about this is because the phrases are written up on the board, so they kind of know that the pattern goes. So that because if I change the grammar aspect, the pattern's going to change. But what I really like about it is they don't get thinking time. They have to start processing the verbs in the you and the I form. Really, because we get a lot of repetition of the he form. That's the most common form in almost any language. So they get a lot of repetition here and having to think without thinking, because it's a speed game. And they never know when the timer is going to go, because I never tell them how long the timer is going. I've got the timer. So they don't know if it's going to be a 30-second round or a 3-minute round. They have no idea, so they just got to keep going. It's like hot potato. They're like, oh, you go. They're trying to do it, so they don't have time to think. So those things get stuck in their head. And sometimes, like you said, we do need that little bit of drill and kill in there that really helps them figure things out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah.
My colleague does something like that with basketballs. He has the students bouncing balls, but I don't like that because the bouncing the balls, it doesn't really have to do with the verb, Yeah,
when I play basketball, I cheat because I don't have any prep. So I know the vocabulary that we're working on. So let's say if we're working on school vocabulary in the chapter, I'll go, okay, ChatGPT, I need 20 questions that practice the vocabulary. Bink. School vocabulary, get. Or I need 20 questions that practice adjective agreement. So I can make all kinds of different questions. If I want to practice verbs, I can say, okay, I want 10 AR verbs I need to work on here. And I'll just ask the kids, I'll go, okay, how do you say I talk? How do you say you talk? How do you say we talk? So they can do that for basketball because they really want to make the baskets. And I do basketball a little different. I put tape on the floor. So it's like 2 or 3 feet away from the basket is the 1-point line. Then there's a 2-point line that's a little further, and then all the way back is a 3-point line. And so the kids have fun playing, and they really like that. They really do like that game. And as I said, with ChatGPT, it's no prep. I don't have to have my questions ready. I just type it in. They give me my list of questions, and then I can go from there.
Oh.
So, and the other thing I was going to say, one other game that we play is the unfair game. They like that game too. Have you ever heard of that one? Unfair game is very good. And so I've been making unfair games. I have a blank template because some of the ones I bought on ChatGPT are way convoluted, and if you don't click it right, it goes in the wrong place.
Teachers pay teachers. You bought on Teachers Pay Teachers.
Yeah, what'd I say?
ChatGPT. That's okay.
But yeah,
there are so many TLAs, 3-letter acronyms. We get them all confused.
So yes, exactly. So I got it on Teachers Pay Teachers, TPT. Yeah. But they were I just didn't like how they worked, or they were really ugly or something. Yeah. So I have my own template of 12 and 25 question ones that are blank, and I just got to go in there. But I do use ChatGPT. I go, I'm making an unfair game. Here's my list of questions I would like to use. Can you please assign randomly the point values, positive or negative, for it? And
you don't use playing cards? Okay.
Yeah, so I do it because they can see I click it again, it tells what the point value is. But here is what I've added to it. I've added 3 different cards. One is bankrupt.
Right.
So they get that when it's bankrupt. One is double the opponent's points.
Double the opponent's points. That's kind of fun. Okay.
And the other one is swap points. So everybody says swap. Okay. So these are things that they're used to in their own video games that they play with. So they know about those. Yeah. So I played a few times. with that. So then they expected that they knew there was these three things coming up, and they knew if they, they knew, okay, we've still got the bankrupt left. They would plan their game. So then I started going, ooh, I told ChatGPT only give me two of them in the next game, not all three. And so the kids go, there's one, we're waiting for bankrupt. I'm like, it ain't there this time. Ha 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 ha. They don't know. So I play all the things. But ChatGPT helps keep me honest because I'll tend to give the same point values, and I'll go positive, negative, or something like there'll be a pattern.
Oh, right.
And ChatGPT will come up with a complete irregular pattern in there. So it keeps me honest that way. So I like when I use ChatGPT as my teaching assistant. That's how I use it. But that one really works. My kids like the unfair game. And so it's just fun, and we play that one about once a week. We play the unfair game, and I have different ways of playing it. But I make my blank templates now, and I can do my own thing just by filling them in. And it doesn't take me that long when you already have a template already made. So
well, and plus you've been teaching for 22 years, so you probably have all the list of everything you want to teach anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we are at the end of our time. Actually, we went over a little bit. This one went really, really quickly today. Any closing comments you'd like to make about teacher burnout, student burnout, any of that before we say goodbye for this week?
I think the key takeaways are what you were saying about ebb and flow, and consider, okay, I really need to do this today. I have to do this with my students. Switch the order. Don't do it at first. Don't do it last. Change the order. Sometimes that's enough. Try to, if your kids are like totally checked out, give them some kind of accountability that's easy and fun so that they kind of look forward to the accountability. And just keep in mind that anything that you get into their brains is a win. And some days are going to be better than other days. Some days it's going to be like, okay, we made incremental progress, but at least it was forward. It wasn't backsliding. So cut yourself some slack as always, and be nice to yourself on the days that are hard.
Yeah. My takeaway I'm going to say is, yes, give yourself downtime. Don't, what you just said it. I can't think of how you said it. Put it there. Give yourself forgiveness and grace. Because some days the kids are not going to be with it, and that's okay. And sometimes you're not going to be with it, and that's okay. So don't be so hard on yourself with that kind of thing. Flip it up. Say, you know what? This is a fail. Just be honest with the kids. This ain't working it. You ain't feeling it. Or if it just might be me. You guys are into this. I'm telling you guys, I'm sorry. I'm just not feeling it today. I can't stand today because my leg is hurting. Whatever it is, you're human. Be human. Kids are human. You're human. And take that into account and just say, it's not working. Let's switch gears. Let's do something different today. And that's okay. You don't have to be on all of the time. Do not be like me and wait 22 years out of 24 to realize that you can sit down and have a downtime and have kids do an independent or a small group activity for them to be able to do. As long as they're engaged with the language, that's fine. Even if you want to have quiet time, you can assign a Blooket. So it's not an out loud class. And with Blooket, they choose the game that they want to play, and they're playing only against the computer. That is fine for them to do for 5-10 minutes, so you can go. You can have just a little bit of a break, and you're not on all the time. But I will say about being on all the time, because people always complain about using comprehensible input, that we're always on and we're so tired. That is true. I was always on. 6 hours of teaching. I was tired by the end of the day. But I knew when that final bell rang, I was done. Whereas a traditional teacher, they had all this paperwork they had to grade because they had them do worksheets or answer all the textbook questions. And they've got these stacks of paper. So now they've got 2 hours of grading that night. Hello? No, thank you very much. Not at all. That's what I love formative for, because all that rote stuff, guess what? Formative grades for you automatically. And I can even put rubrics in formative And all I do is click each category of the rubric, the grade, and it gives me the grade. So when I'm listening, I can when I do formative for like conversation questions, when they like como te llamas and those, they get 1 point for understanding the question, 1 point for answering it, and 1 point for giving me a complete sentence. So, they can do all that. So even if they didn't understand the question, if they gave me a complete sentence, they would at least get 1 point for that.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to grade because all I do is click. Did they give me a complete sentence? Did they give me, and it's really easy for me to do that. And it's still much quicker than grading other stuff. So allow yourself to have that downtime. And yes, you may be putting yourself on a lot with comprehensible input, but know that you don't have all that grading after school to do. It's just so nice with that feeling. So give yourselves a break. Just know that we're all human. We're all going to have our good days and our bad days. We're going to have our on days and our off days. And it's okay. You don't always have to be on. And you don't have to resort to, I'm not feeling today, I'm just going to show a movie. That's not always the best use of time. And there are other, I didn't even mention, I'll just mention it quickly. We did a little bit. But you know what? You want to have some off time and some kids to focus? There are plenty of language sites on YouTube that you can play for comprehensible input. There's Easy German, Easy French, Easy Spanish. I like even better because I don't think they're as easy as they say they are. I like the Dreaming Spanish or Elisa Ayel. Those are the two that I know of for French and for Spanish. But find a good channel that has that. And you can make a video and then you can tell the link of that video to ChatGPT. This is a lazy thing. ChatGPT say, give me 10 comprehension questions based off this video, and it will do it in a matter of 30 seconds, so you don't even have to listen to the video. I can find one. Oh, it's about school. Great. I don't have time to look at it right now because I'm not feeling it right now. I need it right now. And I can come through. They listen to it. Then I can just ask them the questions afterwards. So lots of different things to be able to do. Just give yourself some downtime right away. And Pamela has given us so many different ideas. I wrote a lot of them down, and I'll put them in the show notes of different games and stuff and activities that you can do to amp up your kids. Gamify your classroom. It really does work. So those are our recommendations.
Channel where I talk about all the games I play. So
yep, and I have it linked. That's already in the show notes. I always link her YouTube channel, so take a look at that YouTube channel. It's a treasure trove of great information. And we will go ahead and close out for today. So thank you so much
again for having me, and I'll see you next week.
Yes, Pamela's coming back next week. I don't even remember what the topic is. Let me see what it is, because our topic next week is, why is my page not open to the right spot? Podcasts. Our topic next week is episode 25, and we are talking about comprehensible with fast processors, slow processors, and that kid who's reading novels in week 2. So talking about differentiation there is what we'll be talking about. So that'll be awesome. So guys, thanks so much for spending some time with us today on Comprehend This. A huge thank you to Pamela for helping us name what so many of us are feeling right now. Mid-semester exhaustion is real. And we've got, if I try to read the Paola Andrea Ortegaba from Bolivia. Bienvenida for joining us today. And she says, thanks, Scott and Pamela.
Thank you for being
awesome
here.
Awesome to have you from Bolivia. So it's not a personal failure when this happens. So don't think that it is. Don't blame yourself. We're all human. So if this episode helped you realize that low energy doesn't mean low comprehension, take the win and be a little kinder to yourself this week and in the future. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with another teacher who's also teaching on caffeine and hope. And remember, you can watch live on YouTube or catch the replay on your favorite podcast app. Ditch the drills, trust the process, and I'll see you next time on Comprehend This. See you next week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.